Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first session at the Creator Fest. It's lovely seeing where everyone is from. I see Florida. I see Riley Durham in the chat. Hi, Darlise. Seattle. Wow, this is great. I'm so glad that everyone is so excited. We have Donna Maria Jose here. Um, thank you so much for joining us, everyone. So today we're going to talk about from vision to impact, leading 0 to 1 projects. Before we get started, we want to make sure we just go over some quick ground rules to help create the best experience for you guys. Feel free if you have any technical difficulties or questions, or you're just having a great time to, post directly to the chat. You'll also see the Q&A feature. We will be asking questions at the very end. And yeah, feel free to react the entire time. But we want to keep this interactive and fun. So when you're ready, take it away, Donna.
All right. Thanks, Jasmine. Thanks for the intro and kickoff. I guess everyone was able to attend the keynote session today, and we are all still in that hype of the session. I hope I can keep up with that. Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor for me to be with such inspiring group, and thanks for joining. I'm Donna. I'm a senior software engineer at Slack. I'm a backend engineer, primarily working on a lot of the features that you might be using in Slack if you're a Slack user. And outside of work, I enjoy volunteering and mentoring a lot, and that made me a Google Women Technicals ambassador and also AnyWP.org global point of contact, which is what a great source of energy for me. Really enjoy doing that and working with these folks. And today we'll explore a little bit about 0 to 1 projects, what it means, why is it crucial in our careers, and how you can apply to create impactful solutions and advancements in your professional journey. So the reason why I chose this topic was my past experience working on 0 to 1 efforts. I was with Microsoft and Dropbox before Slack, and at both places, I got great, amazing chances to work on something from scratch, like build products and features from scratch. And that's why this topic is very, excuse me, close to my heart. So let me start with a question. I'll start a poll here. How many of you have you worked on a 0 to 1 effort at any point? So you should have seen a poll ongoing. Feel free to answer. If you're up for it, feel free to ignore it. It's up to you. Cool, we're getting answers. I'm getting more no's than yes. All right. Feel free to keep answering that. I'm not going to end the poll. I'll leave it open. So for those of you who haven't worked on 0 to 1 efforts, don't worry. We'll uncover some of the initiatives that you can, some of the ways to work on it, and how you can get it for your career growth or your personal growth, and even the company's growth. So we'll cover this. Who I am. So this is what we'll be covering today. So we'll have an overview of what is 0 to 1 effort, what are the phases of the projects, what are the skills that you need, and some of the practical steps, and common challenges and impact that you can expect. So what is 0 to 1 effort? So it's a concept that was actually popularized by Peter Thiel in his book 0 to 1, and it has been widely used since then, or even before that. So any project that you've done from scratch is a 0 to 1 effort. It doesn't have to be an effort at your workplace. It can even be an academic project that you worked on, or even building your career from the beginning can be framed as a 0 to 1 effort if you look at it that way. So now if I ask the question again, I'm sure I'll get a lot more yeses than nos, because at some point in your life, you might have worked on something that is 0 to 1 or something that you've done from scratch. That's all a 0 to 1 of it. I can see the yes going up now. Cool. So it's about creating something completely new, a true innovation that it didn't exist before. It's creating something new as opposed to making something incremental improvements on something that already exists. So this is kind of different from 1 to n, where 1 to n is about improving something, scaling something that is already existing. whereas 0 to 1 is about bold, original thinking that changes the game. So, in professional or technical context, I define 0 to 1 work as something that involves building a product, a system, or a process from scratch, solving problems that doesn't have a predefined solution, innovating in a way that creates entirely new value or a total game changer. That's what I would call it. So in our own life, 0 to 1 means starting a new team, launching a community initiative. For example, like when Adrian and Dali started Creator First, that's a 0 to 1. Or even reframing your careers, you can frame it as a 0 to 1. So when I decided to pursue my master's degree in the US, that was my 0 to 1 moment. I'll leave that open doors for me to join companies like Microsoft, Dropbox, and Slack. So, when it comes to creating something truly innovative, the first step is to identify the effort. So, what are the opportunities that are out there? So, it starts from spotting the gaps and the needs. Look at the markets or the industries that we're involved in. Are there any areas that are underserved or overlooked? Innovation open begins with willingness to question the status quo. When you stop and listen to people's frustrations, or if there is a customer that is complaining about something, start thinking if you can work on it, build something for it which would alleviate the customer's pain. That's where you actually spot the gap and need, and start a 0 to 1, and that's how you will find an opportunity. And empathy is one of the most powerful tools for innovation. So the best ideas often comes from like understanding what is the pain point of a customer, or it doesn't have to be a customer, like understanding a pain point at any walks of life, and designing solutions based on the true needs. So you can use approaches like design thinking to observe and engage with users, or ensuring the solutions that we create are not just solutions, but they are also useful to the users. Sometimes you might be able to fix a problem, but that might not actually help the user in the way that they want. By listening to the users actively, you can innovate around their pain points and pivot the real value and improve their experience. And also, once you've identified the pain point and came up with a solution, the next question that you need to ask is like, what makes this truly innovative, or truly different? What makes it stand apart from what is already out there? This is where your unique value proposition comes in. It's not enough to simply do something different. It has to be something that is irreplaceable and valuable to a specific audience. That's how you can stand out. So, when you're thinking about your idea's long term potential, consider how it will continue to deliver value and stand out in the face of competition. It shouldn't be something that solves a problem right now, and then it just solves for the moment. It should keep going on and on. So even in the future, you should be able to keep that solution ongoing. Keep the solution supporting the customer's needs. So let's talk a little bit about the phases of the 0 to 1 project. So innovation is a project. It's a process. It's not just a one-time thing. It keeps going, and it's actually like multiple phased project that would bring the idea to life. So if you ask me, I'd break it down into three main phases: ideation, planning and prototyping, and execution and scaling. So the first phase is ideation, where the goal is to generate compelling vision for your project. So you know the problem, you know what can be done, what is the solution. So that's where the ideation happens. Start by identifying the opportunities of 0 to 1 innovation. So this might be a gap in the market, or some inefficiencies in existing products, or some pain points that are overlooked. That could be the foundation of your idea. And once you identify the opportunity, aligning with your stakeholders is key. Identify who your stakeholders are first. Who would you be selling this to, or who would be using it? Who would be supporting you? Building a shared vision and getting buy-in from key team members is crucial. And you'll want to build excitement around the idea by showcasing its potential impact on the company goals and connecting it to a broader strategic initiative, helping you to that would actually help you to get some executive support. If you bring in an idea and then you don't have supporters for that, it might die out soon. So you need that support around you to bring the idea to life. And it's also very important to get that support early in time. You can have people around you to help you drive the momentum from the beginning. For example, if you look at the early days of Netflix, it started by identifying the inefficiencies of the traditional video rental system. And look at Netflix right now. Where is it right now? Like it has transformed the way we consume media. And at this stage, like during the ideation stage, brainstorm very creatively, but stay grounded. You can use techniques like blue ocean strategy to find out what is the uncontested market, and that would be a way for you to identify a place where you can bring in your product without facing a heavy competition. And I'm not saying that competition is a bad thing, it's good, it keeps you driving. So the second phase is planning and prototyping. Now you have a clear vision, and it's now the time to move to a planning and prototyping phase. So in this phase, you break down your ideas into smaller, achievable milestones, and you create a roadmap for the execution. How would you drive it? Like, what are the first few things that you're doing? Because it's going to be incremental the way you build it, and you need a way to keep track of it. So that's where you need the roadmap or the milestones, and set the milestones for each phase and focus on the short-term goals. And but that doesn't mean that you should forget the end goal. You should have the end goal in your mind all the time, but the focus should be currently on the short-term goals. And define what your success is by setting metrics like early in time. It should be both qualitative and quantitative. By qualitative I mean like there should be user satisfaction and there should be a brand impact. And quantitative, like you should also keep in mind about the revenue growth and market share, because it's always corporate world and that is important, you cannot forget it. And managing risk is another factor that you'll encounter a lot of roadblocks in between, like while you're developing. So it can be technical, it can be financial or market related. The market changes, it fluctuates. So anything can happen. Keep that in mind. Try to identify that way ahead and see what are the steps that you can do, or have a plan to mitigate these or alleviate these things, these kind of roadblocks that might encounter. And prototyping, that's something that is very close to my mind, and I always relate a lot on prototyping while working on 0 to 1 projects, and also sometimes like on 1 to N projects. So that's where you can quickly test your ideas, develop a minimum viable product, and that should actually validate your core concepts without going on a full on development, a full scale development. So once you have a prototype, this is something that you can show to your executives or your leaders. Hey, this is what I built. This is the idea that I have. This is the MVP, and these are the improvements that I can show on it. That would give you a quick buy-in. And the third phase, I'd call it execution and scaling. Excuse me. So once you have a solid plan, you can now move to the execution and scaling phase. And in this phase, I'd say agility is crucial. Your project is now live, and you now it's about keeping the team and team aligned and motivated. So you would need a lot of cross functionality involved. So building a cross functional team with diverse skills will help you respond quickly to any challenges. You need to have regular check-ins, stand-up meetings, so that like everybody is on the same page and ensure that everyone is working toward the same goal. And also, one other thing to keep in mind at this phase is flexibility. Flexibility is key to everything. Feedback from customers, stakeholders, or even internal users can guide you a lot. Take a deeper look at the feedback once you have the product out there. Pivot when necessary. You develop something doesn't mean that that is the only thing that you can do. You can pivot at any time. And there are a lot of stories, including the Slack story, that they took a pivot when needed. So that is actually very key to your success. And staying adaptable while keeping the end mind and goal is always necessary for success. And once your project gains traction, you'll need to focus on scaling it. Ensure that the operations then can handle increased demand and complexity, and optimize your system and process to make sure the project can scale sustainably. So if you think about Amazon, it started selling as an online bookseller, but the 0 to 1 thinking that Jeff Bezos had, and the agile execution, it Amazon became a tech giant now. They handle hundreds and hundreds of things today. So this ability to pivot and adapt and scale quickly is a key to success. So in summary, the journey to 0 to 1 involves ideation, where that's where you identify the opportunities, planning and prototyping, that's where you create your roadmap and validate your ideas, and then execution and scaling. This is where where you focus on the growth of the product. And each of these phases builds on the previous phase. It's not, it doesn't stand independent. It builds on each of those. So now that you know about what are the phases, what are the 0 to 1 efforts, what a 0 to 1 effort is, let's talk a little bit about how to lead it. So leading a 0 to 1 project requires a lot more than technical expertise. It demands visionary leadership and communication, adaptability, decision-making skills, all these. So you have to balance the immediate demands of the product, execution, and also have a vision in mind for the product. So some of the key traits are: one is visionary leadership. Executive leaders actually inspires by articulating a compelling vision and a clear purpose. So this actually sets a direction for the product, and also you have to instill the excitement and urgency in your team. You can't just build a product, ask someone, hey, this is the product that I have in mind, build it. You have to instill that excitement in them. Like they should feel that, hey, this is what we are working on. This is the future of it, and we have to work on it. And clear communication is very essential at all the stages. It's not just in one stage or early stage, it's necessary or every single time or every single phase of a 0 to 1 project. Leaders must be transparent with stakeholders, provide regular updates. So, and also sometimes you might not be like everyone might not understand the complexity. You have to simplify the idea, like tell it, explain it how you will explain it to a kid, a 5-year-old. Techniques like storytelling and data visualization can make a lot of these complex ideas into simpler but relatable and impactful. And 0 to 1 projects always and very often encounters unexpected challenges. That's when adaptability comes in. You encounter a challenge, like see what you can do, mitigate it, go for the next thing that you can do. Whatever has happened. There's no point in like blame gaming or anything. You have to adapt with the current situation. Staying flexible while maintaining the team morale is very critical when it's a fast moving environment. And also, a lot of things are uncertain, and that's where your data comes in. And data is your ally in such situations. A lot of the leaders leverage data analytics to inform, to make the decisions. It can be the feedback, the market trends, the financial metrics. All these are your support system. All these help you to make a decision wisely at the moment, like with whatever data that you have. And strategic thinking, risk tolerance, team building, all these are are a huge part of the core leadership skills that you need to drive a 0 to 1 effort. So what's in it for you? So why should you consider leading a 0 to 1 project? Um, it can be transformative, not just for the organizations, but also for you, the individual. So here's what you can gain from it. First and foremost, these projects are your chance to drive innovation. This is your way to show that you can do things, you can get things done. By creating something entirely new, you're fueling the organization's growth, and also you're helping the company to stay ahead of the competition. You're not just responding to the trends, you're actually setting the trends. So as women, a lot of us have a lot of incubation in bringing something new. Shalmina said in her session, like she had an idea and she was skeptic to tell it out loud that, hey, this is an idea that I have, and somebody else told it the same thing and they get applauded. And it has happened to a lot of us, including me. So when you do something, when you lead such an effort, a 0 to 1 effort, that's your chance to show that you are capable of doing it. And you have this unique opportunity to shape the future. So it lets you influence the direction of your industry or your field. The work that you do can create ripple effect and redefine what is possible. And on a personal level, these projects are incredible for your personal growth. You'll face challenges that will push you out of your comfort zone, and it will make you do things that you never thought you would do. It strengthens your problem solving skills, your leadership skills, everything. And also it's a powerful way for your or a catalyst for your career advancement. It positions you as a leader who's not afraid to take big challenges and deliver impactful results. For me, like it has worked out a lot in my career. 2 years before, if you asked me, like I would have never done this session. I would have been like, yeah, I know all these things, but I don't think I'm capable enough to talk to people about it. But my involvement in a lot of the zero to one initiatives or the communities that actually gave me the courage to speak out loud and do sessions on the topic. So that's what that's what has helped me. That's how zero to one projects have helped me, and I hope it does the same for you. So, what are some of the practical steps to work on zero to one efforts? So, building something from scratch, it is an exciting journey. Trust me, it is. It is a lot more exciting for me than working on one to n efforts. It gives me a new sense of accomplishment when I work on zero to one approach efforts. So, let's break it down into some three practical steps. The first one is start small but think big. So you have to start by building smaller experiments on your idea. Build a minimum viable product, see how it is. That would give you not just a validation of your idea, but also that will give you a sense of complexity that is involved. A lot of the times, like your prototype serves as your first version of the product, and then you build upon that. That it is your best way to get feedback on your idea and your first version of the product. If you take the example of Facebook, Facebook didn't start as mm, a social network for the entire world. It started as for a social network for a single university before it exploded. It expanded worldwide. And similarly, Amazon began as an online bookstore before it grew into the tech giant as we know today. So the key to start something is keep it small, but have a vision in mind. Next, you'll need a team that shares your vision, somebody who is excited as you are. This isn't just about hiring people with the right skills, it's also about finding the people who can collaborate with you or who believe in the mission behind the product. Look for individuals who are adaptable, open to learning, or passionate about solving the problem that you're addressing. Trust me, if you have a team that believes in your vision or like shares the same vision, that's where your work becomes easier. You know, the team around you, the people around you have the same vision, and they would support you whatever challenges you may face. Finally, focus on the sustainable growth. Zero to one projects are not just about rapid scaling, it's about building the foundation for a long term success. Instead of chasing growth at all costs, prioritize creating value that leads to organic expansion. For example, uh, I love to talk about examples. That's how I keep bringing the examples very often. Airbnb's growth wasn't driven by excessive advertisement. It was mostly by word of mouth and community engagement. By creating a trusted set of loyal users, that's how Airbnb expanded. So, by starting small and rallying a team of believers focusing on sustainable growth, you can turn your zero to one idea into a lasting success. So, impacts. So going from zero to one is not just about creating successful product. It's also about making lasting impact. Let's talk a little bit about how you can measure the impact and think about the legacy that you're building. Revenue is certainly important. It's crucial to consider the broader impact while you are keeping in mind and about revenue as well. True zero to one initiatives often measure success through differences they make in the world. It can be the social, economical, environmental, anything within the industry. So when you approach innovation with a purpose beyond profit, you inspire loyalty, you create a lot of value, and build a business that makes a difference. The next step is thinking about the legacy that you're creating. True innovators actually leaves a legacy behind, not just a product. They leave a legacy that can shape the society and the future generations. So when you're working on something, ask yourself how much your innovation influence the future generations. What problems does it solve at a global scale? So the best zero to one efforts, it just doesn't fade away. That's why I told about like it shouldn't be just a one time thing that solves an issue in like at some point and then it just fades away. It shouldn't be like that. It should be like a foundation for the future breakthroughs. Like there might be a lot more things that even a lot more or other zero to one efforts that might be built on your idea or your product. So think about how you can inspire the creators of tomorrow and not just today. That would solve bigger challenges. So your legacy also includes lasting influence on the world. um, um, Steve Jobs' vision of Apple, like it was not just about selling products. He had a vision about reshaping the industry of computing, telecommunication, and entertainment. And even today, his work continues to impact a lot of people in the tech industry and millions of users globally. So let's talk a little bit about challenges. Anything, any work that you do, it comes with challenge. So the first and foremost challenge that you always face is ambiguity. The road ahead is not always clear. There might be a lot of things that you're not clear about. And the best strategy is to break down the project into smaller steps and make data driven decisions to reduce this uncertainty. You might not know what changes tomorrow, but you know what data you have today. So work on that. And resistance to change. Um, you might get a lot of pushback on your ideas. Like you might want to do one thing in particular way, and you might get a lot of pushback from others. So that's when you need your supporters. So get your stakeholders involved very early in the stage. Be transparent, provide them with adequate information about like what your concerns are, what are you trying to address, where are you at. That would give you a support system. And of course limited resource. One of the efforts that I worked on, we just had two engineers and a PM who worked on an effort. And it took us a few months to get everything set up. Actually no, we were pretty fast, I would say. So you might not have a lot of resources all the time. So focus on what you have in your hand and have a good idea of budgeting, like what can you use, how can you use, what is the best way to use it, have n different ways of getting things done, and choose the best one based on the resources that you have. And fear of failure, that is something that can paralyze your team anytime. So that is a cultural thing. Like you have to create a culture within the team that is in such a way that you learn from your failures. You do not get intimidated or anything. You learn from it. Every failure is a lesson learned. Document the lessons and also celebrate the success along the time. And then maintaining the team morale. That is a very crucial thing for a 0 to 1 effort. And you have to keep your team motivated all the time, especially when there is a challenge. So lead by examples. Celebrate your successes, like whether it be a small win. You went to like 10 users to 100 users. Celebrate it. That's a very first milestone that you might have. And also acknowledge the hard work the team is doing and remind them about the bigger picture. You might be doing a small thing today, but this is what it is adding up to. Keep your team reminding that everyone in the team is valuable and every idea is valuable. So when the team knows that their effort matters and sees the value in what they're building, they'll be always motivated and committed to what they do. So, as we conclude our session today, I want to emphasize the key elements of leadership in 0 to 1 project. So, a leadership in 0 to 1 effort requires a clear vision, resilience in the face of uncertainty, and adaptability when things doesn't go as planned. As leaders, it's your responsibility to steer your team through these ambiguity and keep everyone focused on the bigger picture. But equally important is building trust, fostering a collaborative environment, and that's when the best results come. Encourage for open communication, provide regular feedback, and create an environment where everyone can contribute to their ideas and skills. And rely on feedback all the time. It's a very powerful tool. So when you get a feedback, see what you can do with the feedback. Is it something that is, and do not take it to heart. Like you might get a lot of constructive feedback. It's nothing personal. It's all for the success of the product. So see what you can learn from the feedback, what you can improve, or you might even be able to bring in like newer features based on the feedback. It might be totally unrelated, but that might be something that gives you a newer idea. And also, don't forget to celebrate the milestones along the way. Recognizing small wins will help maintain the momentum, boost the team morale, and also remind the team and you that you've made some progress. So, in the end, excuse me, leadership is not just about guiding the project; it's about inspiring, empowering, and innovating, and leaving a lasting legacy. And with that, thanks for your time. And I'm excited to see what you guys go out and build. And I'm happy to take any questions now.
Thank you so much, Donna. Let's see. And remember, guys, the question and answer is at the top of the toolbar, or feel free to just drop it in the chat.
Yeah, I do see some questions in the chat. Which of these phases anyone you found are most challenging? I think Jasmine, you asked this question. Uh, might be for the whole people, but I'd like to take that answer. I'd like to answer that question. Which one of these phases everyone we found most challenging? So for me, one of the biggest challenges was during ideation, because that's when you have tons of ideas that pop up. It's sometimes hard to figure out like what is the best. You might be able to think of n different ways, and each of them might have different pros and cons. Weighing that in and picking the best one at that moment, sometimes it might be challenging, especially when there is like a lot of different ways to get things done. But the best way at that point is like rely on the data, see what has worked in the past. That's something that has helped me. What are your top tools or tactics for soliciting feedback in early stages? So, top of my mind, I can't think of a specific tool, but there's a lot of them out there. Um, one way of using it is, at one of the companies that I worked on, we used Full Story. Full Story is actually a session recording mechanism. It lets you record the user's sessions, and without leaking any privacy information. You can gray out a lot of the things in there. You can set rules for that. With that, you see how the user uses your platform or your product. See what are the patterns. Sometimes you might figure out like user might be getting they're going to use a feature, they're trying to use it, but they get stuck at some point and they leave it then and there, and that's gone. So those are some of the one of the that was one of the way that we used in the past. And also regular not regular targeted pop-up feedback forms that would give, hey, there's this feature, would you like to use it? And if they use it, like we might ask them for a feedback there, like a pop-up feedback again. Yeah, and that was some of the ways that we used in the past.
Speaking of feedback, everyone, we would love your feedback on this session. Please share what you loved or where you see improvement. Um, yeah, and that is down in the chat for you.
Yeah.
But feel free to continue asking your questions.
Yeah, if you don't have any questions at the moment, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd love to stay connected with folks and learn from them, and share my thoughts as well.
Yeah, that reminds me. So if people want to connect with you after the session, whether they have further questions, do you just suggest LinkedIn, or do you have a website you would like them to check out?
Yeah. I do see a question in the Q&A. As someone early in my career, how can I develop skills needed to contribute to lead a 0 to 1 project? So sometimes you might hear from your leaders that they want to work on something, and uh, it might be just a long-term goal. I'll share you an experience from my life. So my very first job, I was fresh out of grad school, didn't have a ton of experience. That was my first job after grad school. And during the team all hands meeting, our leader shared a vision about like having better code coverage. They wanted to increase the code coverage for the entire code base, add more unit tests, make sure that nothing is breaking. And that was just a thought that they posted during the meeting. It was never a project. It was never a idea that they had in mind to do it immediately. But that actually like kindled a fire in my. And I spoke to my manager. Hey, I heard about this thing during our all hands. What can I do to help? Is there something that I can do? And my manager, who was very supportive of our growth, like he actually went and spoke to the director. There's Donna who wants to work on it, like take a lead on that. And that was a side project that I worked during my first job. It became, apart from the regular work that is going on, I took the effort along with a teammate of mine to lead the code coverage improvement of code coverage initiative. That was one of my 0 to 1 efforts. So we discussed, set some thoughts on like what can be done, how can you improve the current code coverage, what is the current code coverage, how do you set a baseline, discussed all these things, created a small project proposal, presented it to the leadership. They loved the idea, and we started working on it. So that's one way you can improve your skills. It might be a small thing. Pick the ideas from wherever you see a chance. You might be very early in your career. It doesn't matter. Spot the opportunities and grab them as you see them. How can a junior developer identify opportunities to work on impactful projects? Something that it's almost same as what I just said now. You're all hands meetings, talking to your managers, talking to your peers, see, identify what the gaps are. That is the very first thing that you have to do. Say you have an idea on like improving something, speak out. That is the first thing that we have to do. A lot of us, that's something that we lack, especially as women. We may have a lot of ideas, we might think it's dumb and never speak up, but no idea is dumb. Just speak up and say that you have an idea of improving this thing, and share the thought with your manager or other stakeholders in your career, and they will help you succeed. And also, in order to learn more, speak to more folks, see how they improved their career, or how they improved their skills. That would actually help you learn along the way. Just to add on that point, saying yes is always key to that starting point. uh, like Sharmina said in her session, like it shouldn't be okay. We just have 2 more minutes. I'll wrap it up in 2 more minutes. Uh, so you shouldn't be saying yes to everything, but pick up the things that can help you along your career, learn new things. Say yes to those things, and also have a good balance of your life and your career. Have in a like maintain that balance all the time. That would help you not get burnt out and stop working all these things. Like when you have a ton of things to do, you get burned out and you stop doing everything in one go. That shouldn't happen. Have that balance. Say yes to the things that can help you learn more and improve your skills. All right. I think with that, like we are almost at time. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, and let's keep the conversations going.
See everyone in the Discord and see you all at the future sessions. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great evening or afternoon wherever you are. And thank you so much, Donna, of course.
Thanks, Jasmine.